Welcome to Made Up Memphis podcast. We are here discussing all the things manhood, masculinity, and mental health, right? The three M's. Today, specifically, we're going to talk about the online presence of masculinity and how Cheetos can help you with that. So, yeah, stay tuned. It's going to be a ride.
All right, check you guys later.
Please do not watch
Yeah.
my profile because I want the recommendations in the algorithm to be correct for me. But if you're throwing in mukbangs and stuff I don't watch, that bothers me.
You gotta protect your algorithms these days, right? Or you have to be careful. Like if somebody sends you a weird link or a video, you're like, oh, I don't want that on my algorithm. But yeah, that's I started a joke series and I want to hear your take on it. But it's you're a millennial when, and then just what we just talked about is a millennial thing, right?
Joey, I don't know if you know, but I'm a millennial expert as a prime millennial myself.
Ooh,
I
prime
actually
millennial.
had a recent video go viral on TikTok, and guess what I was talking about? How to spot the difference between a millennial and a Gen Z.
Mm.
And if you don't believe me, it is right here.
Okay.
And it
Can't get
gets
in that close.
reposted like every day, 334K. Love that for me.
334,000? That's crazy numbers. That's cool though.
I'm an influencer. I like
Kind
to
of a
think.
big deal. Kind of a big deal. Manny the Magnanimous, right?
That's me on Instagram.
Yeah, there we go.
And follow the fire social worker.
Oh man. I mean, I'm thinking. I've been thinking about my whole fire social worker stuff, and I'm just like it's all over the place. It's too much. I don't know. I maybe we'll talk offline about that. But I need some advice on the socials because I'm not. I don't know how to social nowadays. So I'm showing my elder millennial card there. Um, but uh, but yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I would be. I love the support, and I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean. I don't know what to do with my IG to be honest, and some of my other socials now because I feel like it's kind of fallen off a little bit, right? The social media thing is kind of it's dipping maybe, or is it maybe you're in the space? So you mean what is your thoughts on the whole social media scene right now?
I feel like that's a part of the beauty of it, though, is because not every social media page is supposed to be so influencer, content driven, and neat
Mm-hmm.
and polished. Like, take it back to its roots. Keep it organic. Like, if that's not what you're doing, it's okay. And comparison is the thief of joy. So
Mm-hmm.
do what you want to do. Do what makes you comfortable because that's what's going to attract those who you're supposed to be around anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's actually got me thinking a little bit about social work. You know, we're both social workers, and how do social workers engage in the digital world? You know what I mean? Like in the online world, like there's no referees online a lot of times. So I was thinking about this, and I'm just throwing this out there, but I'm just curious what your thoughts are on the concept of a digital social worker. Basically, somebody who patrols the internet and has our expertise and lens and can basically mediate, maybe even I'm not saying that we be the guardians of the internet, but there are social workers in tech, so that's why I was curious to hear what your thoughts on that were.
So for me, I believe there should be a social worker in every space because social workers make the world go round. Period.
Facts.
I don't care if it's a restaurant; you need a social worker's input on it. Um,
Yes.
and I do love the presence of social workers on social media, particularly because I like that there is a representation of social workers with personality.
Mm.
Up until very recently, and I do mean like this year, I have not seen social workers portrayed in mainstream media or social media. Well, I take that back on social media, but in mainstream media where it's not the archetype and stereotype of we just remove kids.
Hmm.
That is, we do so much more.
That's like
There's
1% of our job, or I don't know what
and that's
percentage of the
if you're
field.
in that lane, right? And that's
Right.
if you're
Yeah.
in protective services, child protective services.
Yeah.
Social workers pretty much do it all.
Hmm.
like, and they're always painted as this like evil, vindictive. We're gonna get your child. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
seeing real people, and that's their profession.
Mm-hmm.
It's healthy. It's necessary. And even as the world evolves, like think about AI, you need the input of not just social
Mm.
workers but professionals. Period,
Yes.
of how to safely navigate this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because just like Gen Z was born with a cell phone, Gen
Mm-hmm.
Alpha is born with AI. It's already here when they get here.
Yeah.
So it's you're going to need professionals who know what they're doing to help them navigate interpersonal relationships, and then
Mm-hmm.
interpersonal relationships online, navigating
Yes.
social media spaces, social graces. Cyberbullying became huge during the
Oh.
pandemic
Yes.
because these
Yes.
regular bullies didn't have anything else to do, and then
Mm-hmm.
people were negatively empowered online, and their thumbs went ablaze, and we had
Mm-hmm.
all this rise in suicide or
Yes.
unaliving. I don't know what censorship to use. I do. I just don't feel like thinking. But anyways, and that's another thing. Like censorship, that's a big deal. It's not just
Mm-hmm.
a cultural thing. It has a real consequence and repercussions and ripples, and it's important. Your word choice, and language is important. So, with that being said, I want to talk about how men are viewed online, like
Ooh.
the male projection and people's perception of male psychology online. And
Mm.
who better to talk about that than two male clinicians?
Mm.
Because I'm kind of tired of the whole trope of, first of all, I'm tired of the whole debate and conversation of men versus women. Let it
Yes.
go. It's
Let's just, yeah.
2025.
Yeah.
It's
Let's move on,
dead.
people.
It's clickbait.
Yeah.
I'm over it. Find another bag, okay? Because
Mm-hmm.
this one is it's done. Okay. Nonetheless, I do have concerns about people what people's expectations are of the modern man. And
Mm.
it's almost like you can't win for losing. So you really
Mm-hmm.
have to have your own definition and really sit in your truth and align with those who align with you.
Mm.
Um, I think that's just the remedy for it because some people like what they like and some people are going to vocalize otherwise. But you got to keep it moving. But as we were saying earlier, with this information space and this tech space, online space, and unlimited access and being safe and all that stuff, how do you help curate and shape what a man is for somebody who's looking for it and they don't know where to start?
Mm.
Some males may not have a community to look to in
Yeah.
person for their emerging manhood. So they are looking online. And
Mm-hmm.
then they see these examples, toxic or otherwise, and that's what they think it is because that's what's visible. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Right.
it's shaping that narrative that first of all, just because it's visible doesn't mean it's right.
Mm-hmm.
That'll preach. And then
Mm-hmm.
secondly, the balance between absorbing and learning and then just discovering from within. You
Mm.
know what I'm saying? And
Right.
it's a lot in that, but I would love to
Yeah.
hear your take on that, Joey.
Oh man. Yeah, this is actually something that I've been thinking about it from the generational lens of how, like, because I've been going on this retro path lately, just of thinking about, that my golden, well, not my golden years, sorry, I'm not that old, but you know what I mean, like the golden era of your, when you're young and you're learning about, like in that period of time for young men. And then what did we see in the media, what was represented in that, like when I was a kid, I'm looking at, um, movies like, gosh, there's so many movies, but like, just think of that quintessential 80s movie like Goonies or something like that.
I
You
thought you was gonna
know,
say kid.
Karate Kid. Oh, there you go. That's another good one. Um, I wonder why your mind meant to Karate Kid, but
No,
anyways,
keep going.
but no, that is a classic movie, and I love that. And there's definitely some Asian tropes, let's say, that don't age well, which a lot of things don't age well in today's world because they just don't. Like we're just in that phase where we're looking back at our most recent past, like especially with like digital media, like we have more documented home videos and things like that. Like, and I'm transcribing some of my home videos, and so I'm just thinking about it from that lens of like the '80s, the '90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, and how the 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 evolution of what it is a man. You know what I mean? So like I think that's really where we're in that kind of awkward phase where we're mid like I don't know, I don't want to call it rebranding, but like it's essentially being redefined. We're in the middle of it, I think, and and with that, I think we have the opportunity to drive the narrative that kind of meets the moment and drive the even socially trying to drive that and move it forward in a more positive way and kind of try to strip away. I think if we strip away some of the whole gender ideology stuff in general and just look at each other more broadly as human beings, I think it will be a lot it'll be a lot easier, or it would be, it wouldn't be as complicated. You just look at your fellow person as like, okay, you're a human being. You are a male, you are a female, and I'm going to call you what you are. So when it comes to the masculinity part, though, I think that's just where we're kind of struggling. I think culturally and societally, as far as what is masculinity in 2025. We've been talking about it a little bit, and I think, I don't know if other men are talking about it like we are, but I mean, this is, this is a real this is a real conversation. Like this wasn't even planned, honestly. Like we weren't even sure what we were going to touch on, but like,
Um, I want to keep it in the arena of online presence. So I know
okay,
we were talking about like Instagram earlier and
yes,
those other spaces, and you can definitely tell the date of who's watching by how they comment, regardless of the platform.
mm-hmm,
I will say that even that stereotype about like certain age groups not being as tech savvy, that is not.
right,
No, that's not true. It's 70-year-olds on TikTok and making a bag. So, um, but it's so interesting to see everyone's, excuse me, like perspectives,
mm-hmm,
um, and wondering or even investigating like where did that come from. And I've seen before, and we alluded to this in other episodes, like how masculinity is so purpose driven, and
mm,
it's that purpose is rooted in capitalism, like the toxic version of masculinity. And we
yep,
know that, but like, okay, now what? So you identify
mm-hmm,
that. Is there a good example of masculinity, and is it represented, and isn't it represented in the virtual space online? Like, can you think of 5 examples of a good, quote unquote, good man, and what is their online presence like? Like for real, like if you can think of 5 good men, let us know. Like drop them in the comments right
yeah,
now. Like if
yeah,
you're watching this on the short or episode or whatever, YouTube, whatever. Like tell us. And this is not to bash men. I too am a
mm-hmm,
man. I have an X and a Y chromosome. Okay. But like I'm making a point that there are good men. I think they just need more visibility, particularly on the online
yes.
space, because so much of lifestyle is online.
Yes, yes, the bro culture, I hear you. I think I know what you like the online space, especially, and that goes back to the concept of a digital social worker. I mean, we all can be digital, you know, not basically a police of the digital world. Like we can be more civil with each other. We can call people out and say, hey, that was uncool. I mean, it's like, we're communicating with another human most times. So yeah, like treat them like another
Right.
human, because there's somebody reading that and they're a human being. So would you say that to them in person? Probably not, especially when you're hiding behind anonymity and this whole barrier. So yeah, I hear you, and I like the idea, like, um, five five great men. Let's who has 5 great men in their life, and let's figure out, how many. Like, do you have one great man in your life? Five might be a stretch, so we could start with one. But I like the idea of trying to make that go viral. Like let's try to make um, being a good man viral, and a man doing good deeds. I see people all the time in the nonprofit space and just in the city of Memphis that are doing, they're men doing good things. And I'll reference, the Made Up Memphis. We had a booth at this event on Saturday, uh, with Matt. It was Chess. Oh man, I'm going to butcher the name now, but it's I'm going to have to look it up real quick. But it's a mentorship program for young men and women, and it teaches them chess. And it's the idea behind the event was it's master your next move. And so like it's basically a chess club slash community activist, kind of. I think they're also religious too. So like there is just a lot of great, like I have video of that, and I'm going to post that eventually, from that event. But man, they just had some great community. People from the community were volunteered to do that, and there was like two men in the that were fellow speakers, and one that had put the event on, that were just amazing. And after a little break, I'm gonna try to remember and pull up their names and stuff, because I wanna highlight them as men doing good in the city of Memphis. And as part of, like we were part of that event, but it was a great event, and I found two great men right there. So start looking around for great men in your life, and you might be surprised. You'll find someone that are closer than you think. It is the event was the Game Changers movement and Big Homie Incorporated, were the two main presenters. And yeah, they also had Equity Alliance, uh, Anchor and Healing was there. And they had a chess tournament. Somebody got $100 prize. I mean, it was a cool event. It was really fun. They were teaching people how to play, so they had different booths for different experience levels. So it was a really great event, and that's the kind of stuff that we like to support. Other people, other nonprofits, other businesses, industries that are helping the city of Memphis. So if that sounds like something that you'd be interested in as a Memphis business owner or charity or entity, let us know. info@mainupmemphis.org. And that's where you can connect with us.
That is real information.
Yes. So was the first part.
Absolutely, 100%. So I think it's going to be really important. I know it's going to be really important that as we continue to navigate these online spaces, that we are the most accurate of a reflection of the best versions of ourselves. And that's another thing, Joey. I don't like when people try to box in manhood and the landscape thereof and the journey and experience thereof, and that you're always going to be great. And that's what gives some of the undue pressures of like the Superman complex, because everybody wants you to be Superman, but nobody wants Clark Kent. And when you show Clark Kent, it's a problem, it's an issue. There is no Lois Lane. Okay, it's just all, or Lewis Lane, or whatever floats your boat. But like the point is, everybody wants Superman, right? And I think it's important for men to understand, especially men who are coming into their manhood, to know that nobody wants you. You don't have to be perfect. Because I was about to say nobody wants you to be perfect, but that's a lie. But you don't have to be. And like, take the pressure off, especially for social media. Half of it ain't even real. Okay, let's start there.
Right. Especially nowadays.
Right. And then secondly, you have to, I want people, not just men, but especially men, to do stuff for them. Like, do it because it feels correct instinctively. Like, not just because you saw it and you feel like it's the right thing to do, especially if there's no root to it, no grounding, no evidence. Give yourself permission to do it. And if you can't, I just gave it to you. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that. And I'm just curious. I'm also curious about your thoughts on, a young male that's, let's say, in their teens, navigating the online space, trying to figure out where do I fit into this online space for one, but then also, how does that also coincide into the real world too? Because that's where I think there's also this we're living like these dual lives, an online life and then an in real life, if that makes sense. I've been thinking about this lately and how I think some people are really into their online life, and they put a lot of energy into their digital profile, and that's fine. There's a lot of great stuff that's happening on the internet, innovation, ideas being spread, communities being built, and all that. So there are net positives for the internet in general, but if you're talking to a young man, and what kind of advice or what kind of guidance would you give them to navigate that space, in a safe way?
Well, there is power in social media when it comes to, ironically, privacy,
Mm.
because you I don't know if people understand this, but social media can only get what you give it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't post about it, you don't share about it, TikTok tweet, Instagram story, whatever, nobody knows, right?
Mm.
So in that regard, that context, privacy is power. So you don't have to broadcast all of your stumbles and fumbles, right? Now, for
Mm.
those who choose to, if you're doing it for the function of sharing, authenticity and, showing, hey, I did it, you can do it too. If you're trying to be relatable, that has its place, right?
Mm-hmm.
But just every little thing, every little detail, that's unhealthy. We don't need that. It's okay to
Right.
not share. That's
Mm.
actually what would be one of the first things I would say. We
There you
don't have to
go.
know everything. Bring back secrets, bring back journaling, bring back
Yes.
confidentiality. We don't want to know. Okay, it's not for us to know. Take us out the group chat. Okay.
Yeah.
Second thing I would say is, hmm, it's okay to have a boundary, which kind of aligns with the first point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like if you don't have to scroll all the time, you don't have to engage all the time, you don't have to respond to every comment, every DM, whatever. And then thirdly, please don't project what you can't prove.
Mm.
Okay, that's how people get caught up. That's how people get all this dissonance. They experience dissonance between like what they're actually experiencing and then what they're projecting, and then they get anxiety because it does not match. But
Mm.
then I don't know if they ever understand that you're driving that because you're the one posting it, right?
Right.
So again, nobody's asking you to show us, take the curtains back and all that, but you don't have to do a false flex and then upset when it doesn't match in real life. Like, for example, don't flex that there's a popular Negro spiritual by the artist name is Lil Boosie, and he says, I pull up to the club, gas tank on E. I'm sorry. He pulls up to the club VIP, first of all, which I get because when I go out, I like VIP experiences.
Mm. Who
But his
doesn't?
gas tank is on E.
Mm.
However, all drinks are on him. You
Mm.
see how that does no line? So when you're ready to go
Mm.
home after this club experience, you can't even go home. And that is a funny example, and I know those who know what I'm talking about would get it. But it's
Mm.
the same thing. Like, why are you telling me that, oh, I'm finna go to Jamaica and you can't pay your bills? And those
Right.
who know you in real life, and when you see them, you're
Mm-hmm.
going to experience more distance because you know that I know that what you're posting and what you are experiencing are not the same thing.
Right.
So take the pressure off yourself. Who are you flexing for?
Mm-hmm.
These are the real questions. What are you compensating for?
Mm-hmm.
It has to be you, unless you are genuinely trying to impress somebody. Even so, why? Like, ask yourself the hard questions
Mm.
and answer them, even if you need to do it in the presence of a professional. That's fine. because
Yes.
it's probably most likely rooted to something much deeper that needs to be addressed, right?
Hmm.
Um, so that was a lot, but those are the three things I would say for sure.
Yeah. And honestly, it goes, there's so much data out there now. I mean, we don't have to go onto a social media, soapbox, but I mean, it is something that is relevant in today's era, and so it's something that is, as clinicians, it's something that we encounter, and now we're dealing with, yeah, like you said, cyberbullying. That didn't exist when we were their age. Like it was literally just bullying, old school bullying.
Yeah.
Putting your head in the toilet, that whole thing. That, I mean, that still exists too. Don't get me wrong, bullying hasn't gone away, but like you said, it is now metastasized into the online world, and that's just, it's toxic. And I think there are some schools that are starting to ban. I think here in Memphis there are people or schools that are banning phones during school hours,
Yeah,
and
they
I'm
have
like,
them under like lock and everything.
yeah, yeah. And I think I've heard that it's actually doing okay. Like it's not like some kind of revolt, that's happening. I'm sure the kids are bored a little bit, or they probably have some anxiety about, who's messaging me right now. But then at the same time, do they even need to be thinking about those things when they're that age? Like they don't. A lot of young people just don't quite have the emotional maturity or the emotional intelligence to handle the online space. Um, so I don't know. Your any thoughts on if there should be age restrictions on social media? Just
Absolutely. There should be age
yeah.
restrictions and also age accommodations. So, like, I'm a millennial, so chat rooms came out when I was entering the online space. But
Hmm.
there were restrictions, like you had to have parental consent, and
Yeah.
like it was for kids. Like, and if it got too rowdy, there was an administrator who would like kick the kids out. Like,
Hmm.
I'm not saying like ban them from online presence. Just make sure it's appropriate, because there are people who do not have the best intentions for our young people online, and we want to protect our young people from those experiences, right?
Absolutely.
And with that being said, for those who may have or are experiencing cyberbullying, this is Suicide Prevention Month. So you always have 988 as a resource you can call or text, which I'm glad they added that feature.
Yes.
And it's free, it's anonymous. They can connect you to resources. And if you're in crisis, like you have active thoughts, method, and or plan, or you're just having passive thoughts, or you just need some support, 988 is a great resource that you can readily access from your phone or any device, right?
Hmm.
Um, so there's that. Also, Main Up Memphis, who will help you, empower you around that. Other outpatient mental health providers, there are supports for you, right?
Hmm.
Um, to answer the original question, I think there absolutely should be restrictions. Just like any fun place has rules, right?
Yeah.
You go to an amusement park, you must be this tall to ride this ride. It's not because there's something against people less than that height. It's
Hmm.
because it's a safety feature,
Yes, it's
right?
a liability.
You will not enjoy the ride if you're falling out of the seat, right?
Hmm. Right.
You go to the fair. There are certain games you can't play unless you're a certain age. Certain
Hmm.
video games you can't play unless you're a certain age, because it's not fun. What's fun for me at 31 will be traumatizing for a 9-year-old. So
Yeah.
let's not play the exclusivity game. Like, it's restrictions can actually bring inclusivity. It just has to be appropriate and in context.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And going back to the 988, the crisis line, um, just another pitch for that. I just recently, somebody had mentioned that it's not only for whenever you are, suicidal. It is when you're it is a crisis line. So if you're in crisis, like your definition of crisis, and like, then go for it. Call them, because they're, like you said, there's somebody, they're going to find your resources. They're going to find you, or they're going to be able to talk to you. And sometimes, like, I mean, a lot of crises can literally be solved by talking to a trained professional or even just another human being. Like don't just go into your ChatGPT. Like talk to a human being. Talk to an actual human being.
Professional.
And yeah, professional preferably. But even if it's something just that you have a family member, a friend, somebody that you could reach out to, and that's where the internet, I think, a lot of people are turning to the internet for that social emotional connection. So there is a positive aspect to the internet and social media. It's just that, like you said, we need to have guardrails. We need to have things in place that protect people. Like you said, it's a safety thing. If a carnival ride operator lets somebody go that's under the height restriction, and then that kid, something happens, then they're liable. So I think that's where we need to have those types of checks and balances for social media. So
And hard lines. And they exist. We
yes,
just got to implement them, It takes
yeah,
some active supervision,
right,
It's not the days you can just let your child out in the backyard. I mean, you can if you have one, but like it does, that type of loose supervision does not translate to an online
yes,
presence. You need to know what your child is doing on social
hmm,
media, online, period, not just social media. Their virtual footprint, period, text messages,
hmm,
phone calls. Get into it, and they will
yeah,
thank you for it later. It can seem
right,
invasive at first, but it's for their safety.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like you can exist in so many different circles online, and you can go down all these different rabbit holes, and like you said, some of those are not going to be good rabbit holes, and most of them are not. um, so that's just the public service announcement, as far as like, we all need to work on that. We all need to work together as a community, as a digital community, and as future digital social workers, which I am bestowing upon us that absolutely made up title, digital social. Well, I don't know. What do you think? Virtual social worker or digital social worker?
Like both, but virtual sounds like traditional social work, just online. Digital sounds more of a range, so
Okay.
I prefer digital. But Joey, can
Well,
you tell the audience like some other opportunities to connect with Main Up Memphis coming up?
yes. Man, we have the Made Up Memphis tour, the Mindscape tour, and I can actually try to share my screen because I did want to show off all the hard work that is going on behind the scenes with Made Up Memphis. Because this is I feel like Made Up Memphis is a fun organization, but then we also care. We genuinely care about helping people with their mental health and their finances. So
And cheese.
um, and cheese curds, cheese curls or curds. I'm sorry, I'm butchering it.
You're
Um,
not. I've said both, and I didn't think everybody was going to call it out, but it happened. So
well, our audience is very eagle-eyed or eagle-eared. They can hear everything, and they call
eagle
you out.
eared.
Eagle-eared. That's a thing, right? I just made that up.
Oh,
Um,
I want to let you have it, but I can't.
but it's unique, right? Eagle-eared. They have. Do they have ears? I'm
Exactly.
butchering this.
That you are
All right.
butchering.
Yes. Yes.
So how can we connect with Main Up Memphis?
But yes, info@madeupmemphis.org. That's a great way to get connected with Made Up Memphis. That's like our one-stop shop. Just email us, say, hey, I want to volunteer, or hey, I want to, the next, because the next month is going to be insane. We're going to have like four different events at different venues across Memphis, Shelby County. So yes, it's on Eventbrite. So yes, you can find us on Eventbrite. Look up Main Up Memphis on Eventbrite. Hey, thank you guys. I appreciate y'all for joining us. My name is Joey Laswell, and this is Emmanuel Morris. We are the Mood Dudes, and this has been the Made Up Memphis podcast.